Endless battles. Rome versus Germania. The clash between Rome and the Germanic tribes lasted for centuries, marked by battles that were both brutal and pivotal in shaping the future of Europe. These endless battles were not only about territorial conquest but also about the survival of two radically different cultures: the civilized might of Rome versus the tribal strength and freedom of the Germanic peoples. Each side employed different strategies, but both were determined to assert their dominance. Below is an exploration of the key battles and events that defined the long, tumultuous war between Rome and the Germanic tribes. 1. The Battle of the Rhine, 55 to 54 BC. Key figures: Julius Caesar, Rome; Ariovistus, Suebi, the Helvetii. Outcome: Roman victory. The battle. In his pursuit of total control over Gaul, Julius Caesar was forced to confront the Germanic tribes who crossed the Rhine into Gaul. His first major clash with the Germans came when he faced Ariovistus, a leader of the Suebi tribe, who had moved into Gaul at the behest of the local Gallic tribes. Caesar responded with a show of force, driving Ariovistus and his forces back across the Rhine. Significance. Caesar's actions here marked the first significant military engagement between Rome and the Germanic tribes. His crossing of the Rhine in 55 BC to confront the Germanic tribes is considered a symbol of Rome's power to project force into enemy territory. Legacy. Caesar's victory over the Germans solidified Roman control over Gaul and showcased Rome's growing dominance in Europe. It also demonstrated the logistical capabilities of Roman engineering, as Caesar had his men construct a bridge over the Rhine River, showcasing Roman engineering superiority. 2. The Battle of the Teutoburg Forest, 9 AD. Key figures: Publius Quinctilius Varus, Rome; Arminius, Germania. Outcome: decisive Germanic victory. The battle. The Battle of the Teutoburg Forest is perhaps the most famous battle in the Roman-Germanic Wars. In 9 AD, Arminius, a former Roman auxiliary officer, led a coalition of Germanic tribes to ambush 3 Roman legions under the command of Varus. Arminius used his knowledge of Roman tactics to deceive Varus into a trap in the dense Teutoburg forest. The Roman legions, unable to maneuver effectively in the forest and caught off guard, were destroyed. Significance. This battle marked a dramatic turning point in Roman expansion into Germania. The loss of 3 Roman legions and the Eagle standards was a devastating blow to Rome, which would never attempt full-scale conquest of Germania beyond the Rhine. Legacy. The battle shattered Roman confidence in their ability to conquer and control Germania. It also turned Arminius into a symbol of resistance for the Germanic peoples, showing that even the might of Rome could be challenged. 3. Germanicus campaigns, 14 to 16 AD. Key figures: Germanicus, Rome; Arminius, Germania. Outcome: mixed Roman success. The campaigns. In response to the humiliation at Teutoburg, Germanicus, a Roman general and the nephew of Emperor Tiberius, led a series of retaliatory campaigns against the Germanic tribes. He managed to defeat Arminius in several engagements, including the Battle of Idistavizo, and recovered 2 of the lost Eagle standards. However, despite these successes, Germanicus was unable to decisively crush the Germanic resistance and was eventually recalled by the emperor. Significance. Germanicus' campaigns were critical in restoring Roman honor and recovering the Eagles, but they were ultimately unsuccessful in achieving Roman dominance over Germania. Legacy. Germanicus became a legendary figure in Roman history, symbolizing the resilience of Rome. His failure to decisively conquer Germania, however, led to a shift in Roman strategy, with Rome focusing on defensive borders along the Rhine instead of territorial expansion. 4. The Marcomannic Wars, 166 to 180 AD. Key figures: Marcus Aurelius, Rome; Marcomanni, Quadi, Sarmatians. Outcome: Roman resilience despite heavy losses. The battle. The Marcomannic Wars were a series of conflicts fought between the Roman Empire and several Germanic tribes, including the Marcomanni, Quadi, and Sarmatians. These tribes invaded the Roman Empire, exploiting its internal divisions and the weakening of imperial authority. The conflict spanned several years, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. The wars culminated in the Battle of Carnuntum in 174 AD, where Emperor Marcus Aurelius successfully repelled the invaders, though the victory was costly. Significance. The wars were significant because they demonstrated the vulnerability of the Roman Empire's borders, particularly along the Danube River. The empire's ability to defend its frontiers, despite being severely weakened, showed Roman resilience. Legacy. The Marcomannic Wars marked the last major attempt by Germanic tribes to seriously invade Roman territory. While the war's end allowed the Romans to regain control of the border, it was also a sign that the empire could no longer hold its vast frontiers against the sustained pressures of barbarian invasions. 5. The Battle of Adrianople, 378 AD. Key figures: Emperor Valens, Rome, Fritigern, Visigoths. Outcome: Visigothic victory. The battle of Adrianople was a pivotal conflict in the decline of the Roman Empire. The Visigoths, led by Fritigern, had sought refuge within the empire's borders but were mistreated. When they revolted, the Roman Emperor Valens decided to engage the Visigoths in battle without waiting for reinforcements. The result was a devastating defeat for the Romans, with Emperor Valens killed in the fighting and much of the Roman army destroyed. Significance. The battle is often considered one of the worst defeats in Roman history. It exposed the vulnerabilities of the Roman military system, which had been undermined by decades of reliance on Germanic federati and internal political instability. Legacy. Adrianople marked a turning point in Roman history. It not only highlighted the growing strength of the Germanic tribes but also signaled the beginning of the end for Roman control over the Balkans. The Visigoths, emboldened by the victory, would go on to sack Rome in 410 AD. 6. The sack of Rome, 410 AD. Key figures: Alaric I, Visigoths, Honorius, Rome. Outcome: Visigothic victory. The event, the sack of Rome by Alaric I and the Visigoths, was a symbolic moment in the decline of the Western Roman Empire. After several months of siege and failed negotiations with the Roman Emperor Honorius, Alaric's forces stormed Rome and looted the city for 3 days. The sack was relatively controlled, as Alaric spared many churches and civilians, but it still represented a massive psychological blow to the Romans. Significance. This was the first time in 800 years that Rome had been sacked, and it marked the beginning of the end for the Western Roman Empire. The sack of the Eternal City shattered the myth of Roman invincibility and marked the collapse of the Western Roman Empire's power. Legacy. The sack had lasting political consequences, as it undermined Rome's authority and prestige across Europe. However, the event also highlighted the growing power of the Germanic tribes, signaling the dawn of a new era in European history. 6. The sack of Rome, 410 AD. Key figures: Alaric I, Visigoths, Honorius, Rome. Outcome: Visigothic victory. The event, the sack of Rome by Alaric I and the Visigoths, was a symbolic moment in the decline of the Western Roman Empire. After several months of siege and failed negotiations with the Roman Emperor Honorius, Alaric's forces stormed Rome and looted the city for 3 days. The sack was relatively controlled, as Alaric spared many churches and civilians, but it still represented a massive psychological blow to the Romans. Significance. This was the first time in 800 years that Rome had been sacked, and it marked the beginning of the end for the Western Roman Empire. The sack of the Eternal City shattered the myth of Roman invincibility and marked the collapse of the Western Roman Empire's power. Legacy. The sack had lasting political consequences, as it undermined Rome's authority and prestige across Europe. However, the event also highlighted the growing power of the Germanic tribes, signaling the dawn of a new era in European history. 7. The fall of the Western Roman Empire, 476 AD. Key figures: Romulus Augustulus, Rome. Odoacer, Germanic leader. Outcome: Germanic victory. The event, the fall of the Western Roman Empire, is traditionally marked by the deposition of Romulus Augustulus, the last Roman emperor in the West, by the Germanic chieftain Odoacer. Odoacer declared himself king of Italy and sent the imperial regalia to the Eastern Roman Emperor, effectively ending Roman imperial rule in the West. Significance. The fall of Rome marked the end of an era. After centuries of military clashes with Germanic tribes, the empire could no longer maintain control over its western territories. The political vacuum left by Rome's fall gave rise to several Germanic kingdoms that would dominate Europe for centuries to come. Legacy. While the Eastern Roman Empire, Byzantium, continued, the fall of Rome symbolizes the end of classical antiquity and the beginning of the medieval period. The establishment of Germanic kingdoms like the Franks, Visigoths, and Ostrogoths reshaped the map of Europe. Conclusion: the unyielding struggle. The endless battles between Rome and the Germanic tribes represent a long, hard-fought contest that ultimately led to the downfall of the Western Roman Empire. From the Battle of Teutoburg Forest, where the Romans were humbled, to the sack of Rome and the final deposition of the last Roman emperor, these battles and events showcase the resilience of the Germanic tribes, the eventual rise of barbarian kingdoms, and the transformation of Europe from classical antiquity to the medieval period. The Roman-Germanic wars were not just military engagements but represented a profound cultural and political struggle that shaped the history of Europe for centuries to come. Would you like to dive deeper into the tactics of these battles, the key figures, or the impact on European history?